Hello, everyone. Welcome to Down the Hobby Hole. Welcome down the hobby hole, not to down the hobby hole. I've already fucked it up.
Welcome to being down the hobby hole.
Welcome to being down, being in the hobby hole.
POV.
POV.
You're in the hobby hole.
POV. You're falling down the hobby hole, and it's just my voice saying, "Welcome to the down. Welcome to the welcome to down the welcome to the."
It's like that scene in Willy Wonka where they go through the tunnel, but you're falling.
Yeah. It's like that scene in Lion King where he's falling, but you're falling.
But it's in a hole.
But it's in a hole. It's like that scene in Alice in Wonderland. It's
nothing like that.
It's nothing like that
That's
at all.
ridiculous.
That's crazy. It's more like that scene in the Mario movie, where he touches the invincibility star. Except for he's falling down the hobby hole. A weekly podcast about hobbies.
Yeah.
A weekly podcast about hobbies, interests, and hyperfixations, sometimes our own, sometimes discovering new ones with guests. I am your host, Daniel Rustage, musician, dungeon master, card game designer, man of many hobbies and interests, and I'm joined as always by my co-host and best friend, Shwabadi.
Hello, I'm a musician, voice actor, co-star of a hit new series, and the voice of Rustage's inner monologue.
Oh, I am. You are. Oh!
You can't even separate us at this point. The concepts are so intertwined.
Today we're doing video games in general. We will do episodes about specific genres and series in the future, but we thought it would be fun to just go over gaming in general for this early on episode. We're probably going to spend most of it talking about our personal top 10 video games of all time, but before we do that, we're going to go over to Mark for his little fun fact corner.
Yeah, so I have two facts. I have two fun facts about video games.
I'm very excited.
My sort of specialist interest in video games for the longest time lied with retro video games. I have retro gaming magazines and stuff, and I have like most major consoles released before the year 2015 in my living room.
Yeah.
So it's like that was like my obsession for a long time. So I picked up some fun facts. I'm going to drop some on you today.
Okay.
One fun fact I think is, have you heard of the Magnavox Odyssey?
No.
It is one of, if not the first, like, gaming console, home gaming console. It was released in 1972.
Okay.
And it used vector graphics, which don't look great. You know, like asteroids and stuff like that.
Okay. I thought you meant like as opposed to like bitmap graphics.
Well, it is opposed to bitmap graphics.
Okay.
Pixel graphics are bitmap graphics,
yes.
So it was technically only 1 bit because it only had one color that displayed on a black screen. Yeah. But because it wasn't pixelated, it is technically a higher fidelity graphics than any of the consoles that came out for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
It looks way worse, but technically, the highest fidelity like graphics you could get for until sort of like the 90s were vector graphics. And they were just lines. If you've ever played, I think it's Asteroids is the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's an arcade machine game.
My mum, it's the only game that my mum has ever played, and she got so into Asteroids that she said, she realized that she was getting addicted to it, and she said, I'm never going to play another video game for the rest of my life because of Asteroids. It was hooked her that much. She was like, this is like crack.
That is incredible. Yeah, I mean, the Magnavox Odyssey had other fun games. It had like tennis, which was, it's Pong. Yeah. But the way that you got the actual graphics, because like I say, it's only lines and dots and stuff like that, projected with vectors. The way that you got the graphics, the colors, the overlays, because if you're playing tennis on the Magnavox Odyssey, all you're doing is seeing the ball go side to side. To get the graphics, you would put a plastic overlay on your TV screen. Genuinely. And I think that's so charming to me. They had like football games where it's just 2 dots moving around with another dot between them, and you just put a football overlay on the screen.
And then it would look like football.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think I've definitely seen this. I just didn't know the name of it. Yeah, but I've seen this before.
It's a really cool looking console. I'll say that. It looks so 60s. I know it's from the 70s, but it looks like what people thought the future would look like in the 60s.
Do you own one? Would you like to own one?
I would like to own one. My
I'm gonna note that down.
grandparents had a Magnavox Odyssey when I was a kid, they brought it out the attic and they were like, look at this, it's from the 70s, this was the early 2000s. And we played like tennis on their TV. But at the time, because it was a much bigger screen than the Magnavox Odyssey was designed for, it was like this tiny little oval in the middle of the screen. Yeah. And it didn't really work, but yeah, I have played on one.
All right. Well,
that's my fun fact.
Okay, that's a future Christmas present, is a Magnavox Odyssey.
There you go.
There's your...
Find a museum.
I'll break in.
Break in.
I'll break in. I steal from museums. That's my career. That's my down the hobby hole thievery. We will do it.
Down the hobby hole criminal activities.
This is going to be one of the episodes where your laughs get cut out because they peak your microphone too much.
Yeah.
And so people are just going to think that I'm not funny.
I need to get in the habit of laughing in a more controlled manner. Like, say something funny. Say something funny.
Oh gosh. Taxes.
I'll work on it.
I don't know. You sound like a villain.
At a level that my microphone will enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now it's time. Lots of people have asked me throughout my life, and by lots of people, I mean not that many. Daniel Rustage, what are your favorite video games of all time?
Yeah.
And we're probably going to go back and forth, and we will say like our number 10 rank, and then we'll talk about them, and number 9 rank, and we'll talk about them, because I think our lists are going to be pretty different actually. Because yes, we have a lot of very similar interests, and we play a lot of games together, but I think in terms of our top 10 lists of video games, I think they're going to be quite different.
I think so as well. My prediction is that I'm going to have a lot more AAA titles on mine, and you're going to have a lot more indie games.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that.
No? I just know that you've played a lot more indie games than me.
I have the issue is it's really hard to cram my favorite games to a top 10. And I had so many things that could be swapped out for those like bottom spots. I have so many honorable mentions. I'm just going to quickly run through a whole bunch of games that I really like that honorable mentions, which are the games.
Oh, I have some honorable mentions as well, actually.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
I'm just going to name a bunch, the Planet Coaster, Ghost Trick, Rainbow Six Siege, Payday 2, the Spider-Man game is really good, Omori, Katawa Shoujo, give me some of your honorable... Obra Dinn. Give me some of your honorable mentions.
Obra Dinn, I really want to play that. Terraria. It's like my most played game of all time. I love that game. Link to the Past. Incredible Zelda game. Super Mario World. One of my favorite 2D platformers ever. The issue is a lot, like, my honorable mentions just go to sort of like 16-bit games and old games in general. Because I love those games. I have a lot of love for those games. They're incredible. I just think almost every one of them, there is a better example of a modern version.
They haven't made another list. That is fair. I mean, some of my games in the top 10 list, I'm not even going to say are like the best games.
That's true. Yeah, mine are definitely not like objectively best games. They're just the games that I enjoyed the most out of like different categories.
Okay. Well, do you want to start with your number 10?
Sure. My number 10 is Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, we're gonna. I think our lists are very different.
It's like the best 3D platformer.
Yeah,
I think I've ever played.
I 100% agree with that. Like,
I didn't play any 3D platformers for years because I used to play like 2D platformers a lot as a kid, and then I played a PlayStation 3D platformer where I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. It's a platformer, but it's in 3D. The game in question was Bubsy 3D. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it kind of ruined my perception of 3D platformers, and I didn't play any for years. And I remember playing Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, and I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, I am not a huge fan of platformers, but not because I think they're bad, but because I'm terrible at them. And as a kid,
I'm pretty bad.
I didn't play that many platforming games as a kid. I haven't played that many Mario, but I have played Galaxy. I never beat it, but it is a very good game.
I haven't beaten Galaxy 2, which is why that didn't make the list.
Okay.
I think that is a better game, but I just never beat it, so I didn't include it.
Sequels are difficult because it's like, they are better, but they're not innovating the same way the original is.
Right.
So they can't really...
Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey would have made the list, but again, I didn't finish it. I
would say that you can lump series, like you could say Galaxy 1 and 2. Yeah. I've done that.
Super Mario Galaxy series. There we go.
I've done that quite a few times in this list. You'll see.
I wonder if there's going to be any crossover. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is actually quite a recent addition to the list. I played it last year, and it's Inscription.
I love Inscription.
Inscription's so good, and I just keep thinking about like how it's almost the perfect combination of things for me. If you don't know what Inscription is, it is a roguelike card game, but it has a mystery to it as well. So there are roguelike card games out there. Wild Frost I love. Slay the Spire I have yet to play. But Inscription takes that formula of a roguelike card game, which is already fun because I love card games, as we'll find out in future episodes. But then it has this fun mystery story that unravels, and I really like what they do with it.
The story is so fun.
And I just, the story is really fun. And there's some people have complaints about later in the game. They don't like the gameplay aspects later, but I enjoyed all of it from start to finish. There was no part of that game I didn't enjoy. And so it's there. It managed to get out of my honorable mentions to sneak it to 10.
I haven't finished Inscription.
Okay.
Well, because I did like the later parts of the game.
Yeah,
I wasn't nearly as into as the first.
That's
half
quite
of the game,
a common opinion, but I enjoyed them just as much.
I thought the latter half of the game was good. I thought it was really good. It just didn't.
Yeah.
Like the first part of the game has such a crazy draw in like the gameplay and the story. But I think it's very good. All right, and I do need to finish it.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is GTA San Andreas.
Oh, I've never played a Grand Theft Auto game. I
think you would like it.
It's just single Grand Theft Auto game in my life. It's one of the big game series I've ever played.
Open world, role-playing crime game. I nearly put the Godfather video game in this top 10.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I think everything I like about the Godfather, I like more in the GTA series. Because a similar, type of game. And people might be thinking, like, you've only put San Andreas in here because of nostalgia. GTA 5 is just a way better game in every aspect. That may be true.
It's your personal preference list.
I just like San Andreas a lot.
Yeah, fair
maybe
enough.
it is nostalgia, but
a lot of
still
this,
makes it in there.
You'll realize that I didn't play a lot of like console games. I had a lot of handheld gaming, but I've always had a computer. I've always been on the computer, so a lot of my gaming was very computer focused. A lot of my favorite games are.
Yeah, I didn't get into PC gaming until I was like 24.
Wow. Yeah, because I was PC gaming from womb.
Yeah.
But my number 9 is the Elder Scrolls, Oblivion and Skyrim specifically. More so Oblivion, but I'm just lumping them together.
Okay. Yeah. I do have an Elder Scrolls game.
I have it at number 9, and I put it both there because, to be honest.
We'll reveal when mine is later, I guess. But mine did make the list as well.
I think Oblivion overall is better in terms of its writing and its quests and a whole bunch of stuff. But I
put Oblivion over Skyrim.
Yeah. But on replaying Oblivion, the actual Oblivion Gate main story plotline isn't strong. It isn't strong. And I'm not saying that Skyrim's main story is better, but I don't know. I don't think Oblivion is as much great of Skyrim than I used to think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're probably about equal. I think Skyrim obviously has aged better just in terms of like, modern gamers will probably take Skyrim a bit better, I think, than they will Oblivion. But I love Oblivion so much.
Yeah. I mean, Oblivion I think has better faction quests.
But that is the number one thing that usually makes me put Oblivion higher is like the guilds, the factions that I was obsessed with them.
Yeah, and it was great. It was great.
And Skyrim kind of dropped the ball on that, but yeah.
All right, what's your number 8?
Okay. My number 8 is Rocket League.
Oh, that's another game I've not really played. I played a little bit, and I personally don't really like Rocket League.
That's fair.
That is fair. It's one of those games where I think it feels so floaty to me. Like, I don't feel like my controls have an immediate impact. It's like the gaming equivalent of trying to like pick something up with 2 really long bits of wood.
I think that's part of the learning curve, because like when you get more into it and you play it for longer, it's a very tight and responsive game. It's just kind of like getting to grips with it. I know there is a high learning curve, but I was obsessed with that game. I played hundreds of hours with that game on PlayStation with my brother. Then I got it on PC and started playing with friends. I have 300 hours on PC. Yeah, and I know that I've played it more on console.
That is insane.
For a game that is literally just multiplayer online facing other people in car football. There's no way I should have logged this many hours.
We'll get to hours in a minute, because some of the games near the top of my list I have logged a lot more hours into. And we'll get there.
Okay.
But mine, well, actually, not even at the top of my list. Even at this part of my list, my number 8 is the Civilization franchise.
Yeah.
So 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is my perfect Civilization game is a halfway point between 5 and 6, because there are things that 6 do that I really love, but there's things that 5 does that I really love. And actually, I played so much 4, but I think I have 800 hours in Civ 5, and I have about 500 hours in Civ 6. And Steam doesn't count, or at least from my experience, it doesn't seem to count the hours you put in offline. And I've played a lot of those games offline, like on flights and stuff, where I'm just in offline mode and I'm playing. So you could add comfortably another 100 hours to both of those. So,
that's hilarious. I've not played nearly as much as you, but yeah, I love Civilization. It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite turn-based strategy game ever. Yeah, safely.
Is it in your top 10?
It's not. I considered it. But I thought you would include it, and I was
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's my number 8. It's my number 8.
I think more strategy games that I thought about including.
You just knew I was going to put them on.
I didn't end up putting them in because I don't know. I love strategy games like Civ. Yeah. I've played probably a couple hundred hours combined across 5 and 6. Obviously no NEU, but I don't know. I can't, for some reason, put them in my top.
I think it's because they're not going to have that. The thing about a lot of strategy games is that they're not going to have that same emotional impact that a good single player story campaign does, or something like that, where you feel like you've experienced this game and you've beaten it. It's more like a thing that you do. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Civilization is just a really fun and addicting franchise. It's not without its flaws, obviously, and Civilization has this paradox where it's genuine. It's way more fun when you play with friends, but it's such a terrible game to play with friends because it takes so long.
It takes so long.
If you can have a group of people play a game of Civilization from start to finish, it's an unmatched experience, and I've had that a couple times in the past. I
genuinely think I've only done it once.
I had this game that I played with my school friends where it was very competitive, and the game ended because everybody simultaneously voted for an AI to be the leader of the world, and their AI won, and nobody knew that. So everyone else was doing it. They did it because they were just doing it as a joke. They were like, I'll throw my votes away on this guy. And because everybody did that, the AI, who was at this point reduced to one city on the middle of nowhere, won the entire game. And it was so funny.
That is incredible, dude. Holy shit.
But that's hilarious. Civilization. Give me your number 7.
Number 7 is... You ever played any Splinter Cell games?
You know what? I haven't.
Number 7 for me is tied between Blacklist and Conviction. They are...
You could just say the Splinter Cell series.
Well, those are the only ones that I want to include because I didn't actually like the other ones. I'm specifying these two.
Okay.
They have a co-op online campaign, which it was during the era of co-op online campaigns, Portal 2 and stuff. Army of 2, if you ever played that.
Yeah.
These types of games were coming out, and Splinter Cell had this the best co-op experience I've ever had, and I'm unable to go back and play it again because they shut down the servers a few years ago.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
For the co-op, so you can't do it anymore.
Because you're
I think you can do it modded. I think you can do it modded where you can privately host a lobby. And I want to figure that out because I want to play it again because I look back at me and my brother playing through these games.
Yeah.
It's genuinely the most fun I've had in a co-op game because it's co-op stealth, tactical shooter.
Yeah. It's I played quite a lot of good co-op games. Did you ever play It Takes Two?
No, I remember it coming out. Obviously,
I think you should play it.
Yeah, I like. I think I'm more a fan of when it comes to co-op puzzle platformer type games because that's what It Takes Two.
Yeah.
Things like that and Little Big Planet. I'm less into that experience and more into I don't even know how to describe it. Shooters, I guess. To put it generally, but
you might be surprised by It Takes Two. It does a lot. It just does a lot.
Yeah,
and it's very fun. Speaking of co-ops, though, that is my number 7 is the Portal franchise, Portal 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So Portal 2 obviously is really good. Portal 1 is, I think Portal 1 is one of those few games I would consider perfect. There's nothing I would really change about Portal 1. It's just got incredible,
I think that's fair.
Incredible puzzles, a really captivating story that they, it didn't need to be that good when they, but it's really good, and it's just like a complete experience from start to finish. That's really fun. Doesn't overstay its welcome. And then
so good.
Portal 2 just takes all of that and just adds so much more on top of it. And the co-op mode is incredible. And I'm going to lump these in here. I've played a few like fan-made Portal like mods, like Portal Revolution and stuff, which are also really good. And I'm going to include them because it's just the whole like Portal puzzling and all that.
Yeah. I forgot how much I liked Portal 2.
Yes.
For a while. I sort of tricked myself into thinking I didn't like it that much because I played the Portal 2 co-op campaign with 7 different friends from start to finish.
Wow.
Because I played it first with one friend and completed it, and my friends were like independently, every single one of them mentioned, I don't have anyone to play this with. Oh, I don't have it's a co-op campaign, but I don't. I was like, I'll play it with you. I really like that campaign. And by like the 7th one, I was like, let's get through it.
But
it's an incredible co-op experience.
Yeah, and it's
great.
The
single player.
The single player is really good. But like, I imagine that part of the joy of playing is figuring out the puzzles, and by the 6th or 7th time you already know the solutions to the puzzles.
I can't really join in once I'm on like the 5th playthrough because I'm just like, wait, I don't want to ruin it for them. Yeah, obviously. So I just have to let them explore and figure it out.
You are genuinely the sort of person to play a game 5 times and then still not remember what the puzzles are.
That's not true. I am. Listen, I'm a forgetful person, but I feel like when it comes to games, it just all locks in. Yeah, it locks in.
Incredible. Yeah, I've played the co-op campaign a few times. It's very, very good. All right, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is, and this is a series, but I'm specifying Fallout New Vegas.
Right. Yeah. New Vegas is the best one. I agree with you.
It's the best one.
It's the best one. And I think it's only not on my list because of the combined force of Oblivion and Skyrim. But I really debated.
The reason I've included Elder Scrolls and New Vegas because they feel quite different to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, like they Bethesda RPGs.
Yeah.
So there's only so different they can be. But with it being Obsidian that made New Vegas.
Yeah.
Obviously, New Vegas feels very different to like Fallout 3, for example.
Yeah.
And that's why I included it.
I've played through both, and I just much prefer New Vegas, and I really, really, really like that game a lot.
Again, the faction quests
are so good. I mean,
so good, so fun.
Good. They're so good, and
there's so much to see and do in that world.
Just walk, yeah.
You just walk and you just see some crazy shit.
When I went to Las Vegas for real, when I was on tour with Megaran, and oh gosh, I can't even remember what's the name of the small settlement that you go to that has the roller coaster in it. It's called like is it Prim? I think it's Prim.
I can't remember.
It's something like that. Oh gosh, no, I have the internet right here. New Vegas.
We can Google.
I think it is called Prim. Yeah, it's Prim. It's Prim. It's the one with the. It's one of the first like towns after Good Springs, and it has the roller coaster, and it also has the robot that you can make into the sheriff. Which is great. But when we were driving to real life Vegas, I saw a little sign being like Prim this way, and I saw the real life city of Prim, and I got so hyped. I was like, oh my god, it's Prim! And there was the roller coaster, and I was holy shit! And Megaran's like, why are you getting excited over this random town in the middle of nowhere called Prim? He's like, you don't understand. I have memories of this place.
That's so funny. I've been here.
I
know this place.
The writing of New Vegas is great. Have you played The Outer Worlds?
I have. I haven't played that much of it though. I never finished it. It's obviously the same team. It feels very similar.
It is quite good. It's just it feels like they needed more time with it. It ends quite quickly, I think. But it's New Vegas. I'm 100% on that. I feel bad. It's definitely would have been on my list.
I've put it under Elder Scrolls for what it's worth. But yeah,
that's your number 6, right? New Vegas.
That's my number 6.
My number 6 is Crusader Kings 3.
Yeah, I knew Crusader Kings would be in your top 10.
Crusader Kings really has done it for me. And I feel maybe a little bit like a fake fan because I never actually played Crusader Kings 2, and I know people are obsessed with that game. And Crusader Kings 2 probably still has way more that you can actually do in it, but it's it's so difficult to get into that game if you are an idiot like me and you just have no familiarity with the genre. And I've tried to get into games like Hearts of Iron 4, and I still haven't quite understood anything. But Crusader Kings 3, it's still more complicated than your typical game. I was able to get into it really hard, and I've played so much Crusader Kings 3. I think it's another game that I think I have like quite a few hundred hours in.
I played again recently. I don't have, again, nearly as much as you, but I do love that game. It's another one that's like really fun.
I mean, I think my favorite memories of it are playing with you specifically, because I have played with other people, but you're the only person who, like, I guess takes it, like, A, understands it, B, finds the joy in it, and C, takes it seriously enough that it's like fun.
I think that type of game is so much more fun if you get yourself invested and take it seriously. Yeah. Like, I understand the idea of like giving yourself a funny name and a weird looking character and making yourself the king of a country and renaming it Poopland. Yeah. I get the fun of that. Yeah, but like, let me actually be the Duke of Bohemia and try and take over the Holy Roman Empire.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. I love having these. I was having an incredible game recently where I was. I'm now the King of England after, like, I played as a count. William the Conqueror conquered, formed England, and then I took over from inside to then become the King of England. And then I was playing for a few generations, and I got into a point where every one of my vassals hated me, started declaring war on me, right? Big revolutionary war. And in the midst of this war, I knew I was going to lose, so I just destroyed the Kingdom of England title, and it splintered everything, but then like meant it so nobody else would be able to take over, so I wasn't the vassal to anybody. And I just thought it was such a funny, like, and then now I'm trying to, like, you know, rebuild it together from that point onwards. And that's what's great about Crusader Kings 3 is it's a grand strategy game where you roleplay someone in medieval times, essentially. But it's not a game like Civilization where there's an objective, like a victory condition. Yeah. You just play in, and it's just a simulation. So bad things happening are sometimes just as fun as good things happening.
The goals really are just you set your own. I know it has like there's scenarios in the game and stuff, and it gives you like goals for depending where you start, different cultures, but like you really do just set your own goals to whatever you want.
For some people that just doesn't work for them, but for me that's exactly the sort of I mean, it's like Football Manager. I haven't played enough Football Manager to put it on my list, but I've started to do that recently.
I do like Football Manager,
but it's that same sort of tickling my brain in the same sort of way. I really like that.
Crusader Kings is the only example of that genre that I've ever been able to get into. Yeah. And I was like, but it's so much more
accessible now because it's still quite deep. There's still quite a lot into it, but they've made it more accessible.
Which I love.
All right. Well,
number 5.
We're at top 5s.
We're in top 5s now.
We're top 5 territory.
Most of the games that I've played in the last sort of 5 years have been exclusively online multiplayer games.
Yeah. The thing about my multiplayer games is most of them are in my honorable mentions just because I feel like it's so dependent. Most of them like Siege. I love playing Siege with you, but I would not put that in my top 10. Yeah. I love Payday 2, but it's not in my top 10 because it's not even that good of a game, but it's really fun.
Most like games that I've played in the last 5 years, they're just whatever my friends were playing at the time and I joined in, I was like, this is really fun. I like this. And I never think about the game again. Yeah. The exception.
Yes.
Is, as you've just mentioned, Rainbow Six Siege.
Is that your number 5?
It is. It's my favorite shooter of all time.
Oh, it is good. It is good.
It's my favorite shooter of all time. It's probably my favorite multiplayer game of all time.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. But
the issue with it that I think would keep it from most people's list is that because it's like a tactical shooter, like has a really high skill ceiling. It's unless you like really knuckle down and again take it seriously and like I'm going to try and play this to my utmost ability and concentrate, and it can be difficult to just have fun in that game.
Yeah, it depends on the sort of personality that you are. Yeah,
but I don't know.
Rainbow Six Siege tactical shooter. 5v5. And I didn't like it at first when I played it. Like, I really could not get into it. But then I think after a while, I actually now really enjoy it. Mostly when I play with you guys, like friends and stuff. It is a lot of fun.
I think you do have to play with a group, to really.
It does have a sort of a little bit of an early learning curve that you have to get over. That's really quite tricky.
Sure.
But
there's a lot about the game that isn't, it's intuitive.
But to me, the gameplay ends up being just tactical enough where it's like it's really fun, but not so much so that I can't get into like Counter-Strike or Valorant. I don't know. There's just something about them that I can't quite get into. But with Siege, I really can enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it scratches that itch for me of like, like real battle simulation type.
Yeah. We could probably
where it's like
we'll probably do comms.
This is not a realistic game, but it has enough of that like feeling of like this is really what it would feel like to be part of a 5-man crew.
Creativity of angles of approach compared to something like Counter-Strike, where
they're
different games, but like Counter-Strike is like there are these 2 different areas that a guy can come down, but with like Siege, you're in a house. What's he going to do? He could blow up the ceiling. He could come through the wall. He could do a thing where he goes on the balcony. He could come up these stairs and then do a thing over here. And there's all of these different ways of approaching this problem that I think is really fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. And it is like when you're like on attack, it's really like a problem solving thing of like you go in, you see what they've done, and you're like, how do I approach this? How do I counter it? I just love it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think my top 5 we're sort of straying into a lot more personal territory as opposed to like objective territory. And we were just talking about multiplayer games. My number 5 is a multiplayer game, and it is my favorite MMO of all time. It's Guild Wars 2. And we're talking about hours. I think Guild Wars 2 might be my second most played game in terms of actual hours. I think because you could do the little thing on your characters where you type their age, and I know for sure that at least 2 of my characters, one of them is at least 400, and another one is probably in the hundreds somewhere. So it is a lot. There was a period of time in university where I did not have Wi-Fi at my house, and I just sat in the Weatherspoons using their Wi-Fi on a laptop, and I just played Guild Wars 2 because it actually runs on pretty well on relatively bad hardware. So I just played Guild Wars 2 like every day, and and Guild Wars 2 is generally, in terms of MMOs, just so much fun. It takes the level for a lot of MMOs. It's like, it's fun to do the raids and the PvP at the end game, but the leveling is just something you get through. But I find like the actual leveling of Guild Wars 2 to be one of the more fun aspects. The world completion, the map events, and all that. And the combat's really fun as well. It's fun and fluid, but not overly complicated. It has a lot to it. Yeah.
Obviously, we played Guild Wars together.
For a time,
and it's the genuinely only MMO I've enjoyed.
Yes,
I've tried a lot of MMOs. I tried Final Fantasy and Elder Scrolls. And Warcraft,
tried Final Fantasy 14. I played a lot of World of Warcraft as a kid as well. Like genuinely, like I had 2 level 80 characters. I was a WoW kid, but
I only ever got up to level 30.
WoW doesn't even make my honorable mentions anymore. I
don't like, by and large, the format of
most MMOs.
I just don't like how they play. Guild Wars, the fact that the progression was so fun is what like kept me there. And then by the time I had like a fully leveled up character and complete the main quest and stuff, then I was at the point where it was like, now I can do the stuff that's fun in other MMOs, but like I would never have got that far in those other MMOs.
Exactly.
Grinding dungeons for loot and doing raids.
The thing is, Guild Wars 2
PvP.
does get criticized a lot because it doesn't have that big end game grind because it doesn't have as much vertical progression, where you're once you get to the end game, you're trying to get like the next armor piece. You can get to the end game and you can have like a near perfect set of armor very quickly, right? And a lot of its progression is horizontal. It's like unlocking new abilities or like just cosmetic, right? Like
that's what we were doing once we finished all like the stuff we wanted to do. We were just grinding to get cosmetic gear for my character.
100%. But then they did all the expansion stuff, and they did this really creative thing where typically in an MMO, when there's an expansion, they just increase the level cap. But Guild Wars 2 didn't do that. They added this thing called the mastery system, and you unlock more abilities for your characters and stuff, and more things that you could do in these new areas and stuff as you go through the expansion content. And it is quite a lot of fun, but it is very different for someone who's like so used to World of Warcraft. And the story of Guild Wars 2, just anecdotally from what I've heard, is not going to be on the same level as like Final Fantasy 14, where I think the story is the more of the focus. But the story of Guild Wars 2 does have a note improvement as you go along in terms of especially the expansion content, because I've played a lot of you haven't played, if any, of the expansion content, to be honest.
We played one of them.
Hearts of Thorns, when it came out, was around the time you stopped, and then you played a little bit of that. But I've now played more of those expansion contents, and the stories and the sort of experience of that is actually, it's quite good. It's quite fun. And it's up there. If I were to recommend an MMO to anyone, even in 2024, it's still bustling. It's still big player base. People still play it all the time.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
They just released an expansion pack literally like a month ago, I think. So it's like all dragon Asian themed. So I think so. That might have been the one before that. They've definitely done something recently.
Okay.
But
fair enough. Yeah, no, I shout out Guild Wars. Yeah, that is genuinely the only MMO I like.
If we do an MMO episode, we'll probably talk about it more.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
All right, number 4.
Let's go.
Gosh, these are exciting. So, number 4 is Kingdom Come Deliverance.
You've told me so much about this game, and I've just never played it.
I love this game. I've played through it 3 times now.
I really want to play it.
It's just like as historically accurate an RPG as you can get, while still being fun.
Yeah. We're still not being like a famine simulator.
The historically accurate sections come in like the way that the combat flows, like the stances and the moves that you can learn, the way that your armor functions. Like in the game, armor is incredibly expensive, like it was, historically in real life, and it's very difficult to get. And when you get a piece of armor, you don't just get plate mail armor head to toe. You get like the bit that covers your shins. You get you have to have 3 layers underneath your armor, and like every aspect of it is customizable, and like you can really fine tune like how your character plays. And I love it. It just really makes me feel like I'm in medieval Eastern Europe.
That's sick.
And I'm this blacksmith's son on the come up. It's so good. The story is fun as well. The story is really fun. I love the characters.
Yeah.
A lot of the voice acting and that kind of aspect is really good. So it's just from a purely story standpoint, I think it's really good. Really fun.
I really want to.
One of the few RPGs where the main quest is like actually really engaging.
Yeah.
But there's so much side content, and you can just go off into the world. And it's one of those ones where you're like, oh, there's a signpost here for a village this way. I haven't been this way. I'm just going to go there. Yeah. And on the way, there'll be shit that pops up and you'll find stuff to do. You'll get side missions and quests. When you get there, there's all these different townspeople to talk to. And you need to check it out.
I think really want to. It's so on my list of games to play.
Yeah.
It's so on my list of games to play. And
I would describe it as a granular RPG.
All right, great.
Because every aspect of it has like all these different pieces.
I like that. All right.
I cannot sing its praises enough.
I'm excited for it. That's your number 4?
That is my number 4.
My number 4 is also an RPG.
Yeah.
And it was a game that the first 2 times I played it, I bounced off of it, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then I just gave it a proper shot, and I completed it, and both of the expansions, really enjoyed it. And it's quite a generic pick for best game, but it's The Witcher 3.
I need to do it again. I bought it for PS4, never finished it, but really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I just never finished it. I need to play again.
Witcher 3 is great. I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I feel like you can find a million people singing the praises of The Witcher 3.
Yeah, it's one of the best rated RPGs ever, right?
Great story, great. The gameplay is really engaging. It has lots of really fun little side quests and moments. The world feels full and alive. It has lots to do. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about 2 expansion packs. They're like the perfect 2 expansion packs, because the first one is just this really, genuinely, really engaging like story. It feels like a movie almost, but like that you're a part of. And then the second one almost just feels like an entirely new game in itself. It's a whole new area with side quests and stuff in it as well. So they're like the 2 different ways you could take an expansion, and it's great.
That's awesome.
That's such an amazing time.
I played so much Gwent.
Yeah, and Gwent's great. I mean, Gwent is the original inspiration for the Devil's Luck card game. I mean, they're very different games now, but the card game that I have created, the Devil's Luck card game for the One Piece D&D, the initial thought process is that we wanted to make a card game that people in the D&D universe would play in our D&D universe, in Arcanum, like in The Witcher where they have Gwent. and they play Gwent in universe. That was the whole initial idea, and it's the reason why the game is a best 2 out of 3 is because Gwent's like that. Because
that's
part
fun.
of how Gwent is fun is because you have this hand, but that's your hand for the entire game. And the idea that if you use all your best cards straight away, you'll just lose the second and third round is the main takeaway. That is true in Devil's Luck as well. You use all your best cards in the first round, you're going to lose 2 and 3. It's why it's the best 2 out of 3. Because I love that concept. So there you go. That's really fun. There you go. That's.
I even bought it on Steam. To like so that I would replay it, and I haven't even installed it yet. I need to do that.
It runs really well on the Steam Deck as well. If you have a Steam, do you have a Steam Deck?
I want one. I think I'm going to get one eventually.
But it's a lot of fun. All right, your number 3. I think you could predict my number 3, but I will not. My top 3. Number 3. You can predict my top 3. I mean, but
you think?
Yeah. Just do it in your head and
I'll start overthinking it now. Okay, well, my number 3 has already been mentioned. It is The Elder Scrolls, and I have picked number 4, Oblivion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like between Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah.
I like.
That's just
I spent most of my teenage years. Playing those games.
Yeah.
Like
genuinely, there's that sentimental value as well. Like.
Yeah. Like it was a game that I would like play hours and hours of, complete a bunch of quests, go to other games, then come back and keep on playing Oblivion. You know, keep on playing Skyrim.
Insane. Yeah.
It's just been a part of my life. I love open world RPGs, and they're 2 of like the best. I think that the formula for open world RPGs, well, it became formulaic is the issue. A lot of modern ones are just very dull. Like I nearly put Far Cry 3 in my top 10. Because that's like an open world action RPG that's incredibly fun.
I enjoyed. I forgot about Far Cry 3.
The Far Cry formula has become so ingrained in AAA open world games that it's just it's so dull to me now. But yeah, I just love Oblivion so much.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Out of curiosity, have you played the earlier Elder Scrolls games?
Like Morrowind?
Like
I tried.
I barely played Morrowind. I'll say that. I don't think it's. I think unless you grew up with that game, it's not going to appeal to you.
People say that the writing in Morrowind is really good, but I can't get into it like in terms of the gameplay and stuff, like the UA. Because Morrowind just regurgitated what people have said to me when they sing the praises of Morrowind, is that the quest design's really interesting. They will do a lot of like. They will tell you information and you have to figure it out by yourself in a way that makes you interact with the world way more. And there's like...
That is fun.
Similar to Oblivion and other Elder Scrolls games where there's obviously often multiple solutions to a quest.
Yeah.
These multiple solutions to the quest become way more organic and splinter off a lot more when there isn't just like... oftentimes, especially in modern games, there will be multiple solutions in the quest, but you'll know what they are because the quest will be like, you could talk to this person or you could talk to this person. And that won't be the case in something like Morrowind. There's more freedom there. And a lot of older games were able to do that, and that was more the appeal of them.
When I tried it, it just didn't feel like it was a game that had aged terribly well.
Yeah.
But I've played every Elder Scrolls. The early ones are really fun to revisit, like the first like arena and stuff, just because they're so. It's come distance.
We were talking about MMO. Did you ever try Elder Scrolls Online?
Yeah, I did. I played the beta and then I played the full game when it came out.
When it came out, so it was. Did you like it? Because apparently it wasn't that good when it came out.
I didn't like it at all. No.
But apparently it's good now. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Okay.
Like, people really highly rate the Elder Scrolls Online now, but it wasn't... I remember it not being very good when it came out. It was like, slammed by people when it came out. I think I played it a little bit.
It wasn't... MMO fans didn't like it, and Elder Scrolls fans didn't like it. Yeah. Like, neither side of what would appeal to people seemed to work.
But it's a lot better now. Probably more for the MMO crowd. You probably wouldn't get into it, but it's more now for the MMO crowd that like the Elder Scrolls lore, as opposed to Elder Scrolls fans who like that sort of gameplay. Maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't played it.
Maybe I should check it out at some point. I just don't know if I want to commit to an MMO right now.
Yeah, no. We just don't have time. We have jobs.
Not at all.
We've got things to do.
I think I know your number 1.
Yes, you know my number 1.
But I'm trying to think what 2 and 3 could be.
Well, I'm going to tell you my number 3.
No, okay. I know your top 2.
Okay, so my number 3 is a series, and it's the Phoenix Wright series.
No! Okay, then I knew your number 1 and 3. Okay.
Okay.
I thought Phoenix Wright would be your number 2.
All right. Well, you'll kick yourself when I tell you my number 2 and 1.
All right.
But
talk to us about Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright, I love Phoenix Wright. Mark doesn't, but that's okay, because he doesn't like games that are just reading, which is understandable.
Yeah.
He likes a good story on top of there being good gameplay, but I adore the Phoenix Wright games because I love mystery story games. It's one of my favorite genres, and to be honest, this is kind of, I'm also lumping Ghost Trick because it's the same writer into here as well, and I guess a minorly sort of Danganronpa too. But yeah, Phoenix Wright is a game series where you play as a lawyer and you have to defend people in court. I love the gameplay of having someone that you cross-examine in court and trying to, it's like in itself is like a puzzle game where you're trying to figure out how they're lying and stuff. All of the characters are really engaging and funny. The story arcs are really fun, and I enjoy every single game I have played. There's 6 mainline games, there's 2 Edgeworth games, and there's the 2 ones where it's like in the past, Great Ace Attorney, and I love all of them. The best game is the second Miles Edgeworth game. I just what more could I say except for going into the specifics?
I still haven't played it. I've watched other people play it, and I'm being like, I don't think this is for me.
But I think you've
the actual gameplay itself, the puzzle aspect of it, the cross-examining stuff, and it does seem fun. It does seem like something I'd be into. I just don't want to deal with boxes and boxes of text. Yeah.
But it's to me, I enjoy reading, and I enjoy and it's I like it when stories, and we'll get to this a bit later on in the list. I like it when stories have this like there are unique stories that can only be told through video games. And yes, it's a lot of reading, but Phoenix Wright doesn't really work as a book, and it has an anime, but I don't think the anime works either to the same extent the game does, because part of the enjoyment is you are the one that's figuring it out. So the gameplay goes hand in hand with the story and the characters. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. I like that. Okay. I don't mind reading. I like reading. So I've always loved reading.
Yeah,
I like it. It's Phoenix Wright's the ideal long train journey game for me, because I just play it. All right.
Top two. I must have told you about my top 2 games. My top 2 games have been the same since I was a kid. Since these games came out.
Okay. Give me your number 2.
My number 2 is a Pokemon game.
Yeah, I thought it would be Pokemon.
It is Pokemon Heart Gold.
Perfect.
I'm not. I used to think I was a big Pokemon fan.
No.
And then I made friends with Pokemon fans.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You had an argument with my brother about Pokemon Heart Gold when we went skiing.
I think it's the best Pokemon game.
Yeah,
it's the best Pokemon game in terms of like it has all of my favorite Pokemon.
That's the important one.
It has the most fun path through the world.
Yeah.
During the story.
It's 2 games in 1.
And it's 2 games in 1. Which I don't know if I told you this. For the longest time as a kid, my favorite game was Pokemon Gold.
Yeah.
I played that game. I played through that game 7-8 times. I did not know until I was in my 20s that Pokemon Gold also included the Kanto region. I had no idea. So I just didn't play half the game.
I am controversially not the biggest fan of Pokemon, weirdly. I've played every single Pokemon game, but I stop around the 3rd and 4th gym because I just find it really slow for me. The Pokemon battles just feel very monotonous and samey, and I start to realize, by the 3rd and 4th gym, this is just Pokemon. It doesn't engage me in the same way, but I really liked Pokemon Sapphire when I was a kid. That was the only one I completed, and I also think Pokemon in general is just a really great game series. But
it's fun. I'm really not into any of the modern ones, just because I don't know.
No. But we're also
maybe just because I'm older.
Yeah, we're not the target audience for the modern ones. Yeah. To be honest,
so I think
it's like
I don't think they're really meant for me. So that's fine. I'll keep playing Heart Gold.
My number 2. This is so fun that your number 2 is a game that I'm not a big Pokemon fan, and my number 2 is a game that you do not like, which is Team Fortress 2. because you just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
You
I
to be fair,
get into it.
you were getting into it way too late, I think, for what it was. And it is terrible for new players. Team Fortress 2 is. It's such a bad new player experience because it doesn't have a tutorial. It doesn't teach you anything. Intrinsically, even the gameplay doesn't teach you anything. Like, there are games without tutorials, but you can sort of pick it up. Like, there are characters in that game that do things like that are just common knowledge. Like the soldier from Team Fortress 2 can fire a rocket launcher, and you can jump and fire that at your feet, and it launches you. But it doesn't. Nothing tells you about that, and a new player's never going to do that. And there's lots of things like that. Like there's a class called Pyro who has a flamethrower. If you press the right mouse button, it does a little burst of air that can reflect rockets. It doesn't tell you that. Like, it might do now, maybe, but at least when you were getting into it, it didn't. And when I was getting into it, it didn't.
Give me shit.
There's a lot. But I love that game. And we talk about hours. I have over 2,000 hours in Team Fortress 2.
Holy shit.
It is still, I think, one of the best movement shooters gaming experience. And it's still the game is, was it 14 years old now? 15? It came out 2007. So...
Wow.
This
will be maths. This will be the 17th year that it's out.
It is a game that is 17 years old, but it still holds up in terms of like its visual identity. Like, you can boot that up and it's still like, this doesn't look like a game that's outdated. The gameplay still feels punchy and great. What I love about Team Fortress 2 is the fact that being a movement shooter with all these guys with different abilities, most of the weapons in that game are one-shot weapons, right? It's a rocket launcher, it's a grenade, it's a shotgun. It either hits or you don't. And that makes the movement, the way that you approach every single combat encounter really, really exciting, because it's like, you're a scout, a soldier shoots a rocket at you. You could dodge the rocket and survive, or you get hit by the rocket and you take a big chunk of damage. It's not... It rewards movement mechanics and it rewards aiming mechanics sort of hand in hand, and it becomes, when you hit that like one shot, like when you hit the scattergun and it does like 100 damage, or you hit a headshot or you do whatever, it's really satisfying. In a lot of like we take Apex Legends, the most satisfying guns to use in that game is shit like the Wingman, because it's that feedback of immediately hitting that one shot, it does a bunch of damage, it feels really good. And I feel like games that have like fully automatic weapons that are like movement shooters like Overwatch and Apex, the fully automatic weapons just don't feel as good to use, and they're harder to play around because you're being constantly pinged and it's not
just chipped down.
It's chipped down.
No, I definitely feel that, because when I played, I know I didn't like it that much, but I like tried out most of the classes, played a few different things, and like landing a direct hit with Soldier while after you rocket jump through the air and then you direct hit someone else while you're flying over the rocket and you insta kill them is super satisfying.
It's super satisfying.
Landing a headshot with sniper is so satisfying. It's super fun.
Super fun.
Yeah,
and landing a Piper's Demo Man is super fun. And I also, another thing I like about TF2, and I think it might be one of the reasons you bounced off it, is it's not hyper competitive. It's most of the games are 12v12, which means if you as a single player aren't, you're just sort of casually playing, you playing badly isn't going to like make the game, isn't going to lose the game for everybody, like if you played badly in League of Legends or in a game like Valorant or something. And I feel like a lot of modern online games now are so much more competitively focused. TF2 wasn't just a game for me, it was a home. Because you would do this. This doesn't happen anymore because they changed the way that the thing works. It sometimes does. You would join a server and you would hang out on that server and you would be playing against the same groups of people just on the server for like hours at a time, and you'd just hang out and you'd play, you'd kill people, you'd do the, you'd win a few rounds, you'd lose a few rounds, it'd be whatever, and you'd just be hanging out with everybody and having a good time playing TF2 together. And it's that like online community feeling that a lot of quite more competitive games lack nowadays. Like you load into a game of League or Siege and you'll play against these guys, you win, you lose, game's over, into the next game. You're not just like hanging out. That
does remind me of like Halo 3 nearly made it onto the list.
Halo 3 has that same appeal. I never played Halo, but from what people have said, it has the same appeal that something like Halo does in that same way.
100%. And Halo 3, I played on the Xbox. It was Xbox exclusive, right? Yeah, it was. I used to play on 360, and like a lot of the time I would play with my friends from school, would be in a live party or whatever. But if I wasn't that, I just joined games on my own.
Yeah.
Like, you'd live chat, you'd talk to people.
Yeah. Just hang out.
Like, you'd keep playing with the same people. You'd invite them to your lobby. You'd play custom games.
Yes.
That was the number one thing. You'd play matchmaking for a little bit, and then people would be like, "Hey, anyone want to play?" I can't remember what like some of the custom games were called. But, like, I've got this like Forge map that's blah blah, and you're like, "Oh fuck yeah, dude!" And then like you're in a game with like 8 strangers, having the time of your life.
Yeah.
Playing zombies, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, and TF2 has that sort of exact same thing for me. And
so I totally get that.
And the design of all the characters is really fun. They all have great personalities. The comics are great. And it's timeless. And it's just, I don't think there is ever going to be any other game like it. It's that one of the things where people take away from that game the just completely, like games inspired by it, like Overwatch, but they don't recapture that sort of, that experience that you have with TF2.
Yeah.
And currently, you also can't even play TF2 because it's invaded by hackers. If you try and go into casual servers, it's just full of bots, and Valve aren't doing a very good job of, hashtag save TF2. You can
think
go
they'll make a TF3?
No. And I wouldn't want that. Like, there's nothing wrong with TF2 as a game. Like, I would worry that it would take away what made TF2 special. And when I do get to occasionally play on, it's still a lot of fun. And there are community servers which you're able to join that doesn't have that. But it becomes a thing where the people who play on those community servers are the people who like are going out of their way to do so, and they're the people who are really good at the game.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
TF2 doesn't have matchmaking. Like, you just join a server full of people.
Oh yeah.
It's just and because there's it's 12v12, there's enough players with that's not really a problem. You're just a gamer in a world. I don't know.
You're just a gamer in a world.
Give me your number one game.
My number one game of all time, my favorite game of all time, is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Wow, I've never played Metal Gear Solid games. See, because it's a console thing for me, right?
Metal Gear is fun because I don't think any of the games in the Metal Gear series are anything like each other. Like, they're the same genre of game, but the focus in each game feels totally different. Like, Metal Gear Solid 4 is just, it's completely driven by the narrative. It's a movie. The cinematics in that game add up to like a day's worth. Like Metal Gear Solid 2 is way more about like action and like it's much more like fast paced. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a stealth game, and it's one of the best stealth games ever. It's a stealth game, adventure.
Yeah, I've heard many good things about it.
There is no game like Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
There is no game since Metal Gear Solid 3 came out that is like Metal Gear Solid 3, in my opinion. There just isn't.
Maybe one day I'll play it.
You should.
I should.
have it. Come to my house and play it on the PlayStation 2 downstairs. I was playing it the other week.
Yeah.
With a few friends were over, and we booted it up, and it's still so much fun.
It's still good. Okay. I will play it. I'll play it 100%.
It was one of the first games that like did like fun stealth mechanics where like it wasn't just you have to be out of the line of sight. Like, it had camouflage percentages and stuff, and you could in the world find different face paints and outfits, and
that's awesome.
It's great. It's the best game ever. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know what my number one is.
It's 999.
It's 999. It's 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors. And hold up before you say anything. 999 is the only game that I have ever played that perfectly uses the fact that it is a video game on the Nintendo DS into and incorporates that into its story in a way that is an unparalleled gaming experience that just hasn't been replicated by anything I have ever seen, right? And and I will say this as a PSA before we get into this. There is a Steam version of 999, and it doesn't work because that game is designed, and I cannot say why because I do not want to get into spoilers. But the story of that game is designed to be played on a Nintendo DS in a way that blew my mind, and I love it when a story is told in a medium that cannot be replicated in anything else. You could not. And usually that's limited to this story is told through a video game because you make choices, and therefore if you adapted that to a TV show it wouldn't quite work. But this is not just because it's a video game, because it's a video game on the Nintendo DS. Yeah. It's got great writing, great characters. It's not a game without flaws, you know. It is a game, it has multiple endings, which is part of you have to get the true ending, and it means the main core of the game is escape room puzzles, and you will have to play some of those more than once, which I think is a little bit of a flaw in terms of its design. And there are aspects of it that are that are rough around the edges, but it genuinely is such an amazing experience to me. And I can't talk about it any more than that, really. Because it's sort of like,
it's great.
As you go into it as blind as possible. It is good. It is the only reading game that Mark has played that he's enjoyed.
That series. It's part of a series.
That series is good.
That I did really enjoy all those games. And like you say, they have their flaws, but
I've replayed them all. And so Virtue's Last Reward, I'll include the series, but I won't include Zero Time Dilemma in that. You enjoyed Zero Time Dilemma, but on replaying all 3 games, 999 was better than I remember. VLR was slightly worse than I remember, just because the writing is slightly weaker. The characters aren't as good. I think, the twists and the way that it works is cool. I like a lot of it, but there are aspects of it that, and also, I can't talk too spoilery. Maybe we'll have a spoiler-heavy episode about the Zero Escape series for the 2 people who are interested in that. But Zero Time Dilemma on a replay, I thought it was decent when I played it, but on a replay, it's rough. It is rough. It is rough, unfortunately.
Okay. Fair enough.
But that first game it works as a standalone game. It is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, all 3 of the games.
Because it's a very difficult game to get a hold of.
It is now.
If you want to play it, good luck.
Just play it on an emulator, guys. Just play it on an emulator. Just play on it. I know so many friends have played it on an emulator and they've enjoyed it.
So true.
And but yeah. Incredible. Shout out Jack T. Herbert. He's the guy who originally got me to play that game.
Remember Jack? Got you on it?
Yeah.
I remember Jack. Of course I remember Jack.
That's the thing about 999 is it was a flop when it came out everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't even purchase it in Europe. I had to import it from America.
Which is why I don't have one. I borrowed it from you.
Yeah.
To play.
Yeah. I lent it to I was preaching that game when I first played it. I was lending it out to people. I'm not as much as I used to, because it's one of those games where you need to be a specific kind of person to enjoy it as well.
Right.
If you enjoy games like Phoenix Wright or Danganronpa, you'll probably like 999. But if you are someone who's like, oh yeah, I like Mario and Call of Duty, I don't know if it's the game for you. I'm not trying to be in a condescending way. It's just people bounce off it because it is a lot of reading. It's a puzzle game. It's a story, but it's it's great.
The actual gameplay, the puzzle gameplay, and the story was the puzzle gameplay I really enjoyed, and the story was just good enough where it got me past I have to read a bunch of text. It got me past that, so I was
past that.
So I played it, and I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and every friend I've made play it has also enjoyed it. Yeah. So, 100%, I'll say 999. I'll preach it for the rest of my days until I die. Play it on the DS. play on the DS.
I think they've just remade Metal Gear Solid 3.
Then I'll play that.
So
I'm
going to
play Kingdom Come Deliverance and Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh please! Oh my god! Dude.
Wait, and what are you going to play after this that you haven't played yet? Phoenix Wright, the first one.
I need to finish The Witcher. I need to play it. Should I start playing Phoenix Wright at the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
It is important to go through chronologically.
Yeah, I'd say so, and also I just think it's the best introduction to the series. The thing about the Great Ace Attorney series is it is slower. If you are not familiar with Phoenix Wright, Great Ace Attorney is like Phoenix Wright, but so much slower. That game is so slow, and I think that's the one that you saw. That you were watching.
Yeah, that was one of 2 that I watched.
Yeah, and Great Ace Attorney is that it is slow. The first case in the first Phoenix Wright game doesn't actually even take that long. You finish it really quickly, and it perfectly introduces you into the concept of the game. And the first game, I think, it's good. First 4 cases, bam. That's a decent game. It's very, very good. So yeah. Try it out.
That'll be my homework. I'll try it out. I will.
You have a flight in your life.
I have a flight in my life. I will be traveling shortly, so I feel like I could play games on the flight.
You see how I was like, you have a flight. Wait a second. I don't know if this is public knowledge.
Yeah.
But that's a sort of it's very good. You get it on your phone, Mark.
Get an emulator on my phone and
No.
play that? Oh, it's actually on my phone?
It's on the phone.
Oh!
The remastered trilogy is on the phone, and that's it. You just get it.
Oh, how fun.
And, I mean, it's a game, it works perfectly on the phone.
Yeah.
That's how Olaf played them.
And perhaps I will.
Ones. Yeah.
Perhaps I will, Daniel Rustage.
And then you can, whenever you have a moment, whip out your phone and be like, let's solve another one of these cases.
All right, well, there you have it. That was our top 10 games.
Oh my gosh, it's been an hour.
God, I'm so sorry, hobby holists.
I'm so sorry, hobby holists. This is
way longer. Yeah. Haulers.
I was going to call them bunnies.
Oh,
guys, leave your suggestions. Hobbyist is so much better. Hobbyist is way better.
Hobbyists.
Holets.
Holets?
Yeah. Tiny holes.
Yeah.
Like a cheese grater.
No, okay, we'll workshop that. For now, let's stick with hobbyists.
Okay, hobbyists.
I didn't get to start my second fun fact.
Well, right now. I was about to say.
It feels like, I'm sorry for wasting your time, hobbyists. This is not a podcast that's meant to be over an hour long. I'm so sorry. We're only 3 episodes in and we've already broken it. But I have a fun fact to close out the episode.
Okay.
One of the most successful and best-selling consoles of all time is the PlayStation 1, the original PlayStation by Sony.
Yeah.
And one of its flagship, most highly rated games of all time is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Here's some fun facts.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII was originally developed, and it was going to be a Nintendo game.
Yep.
And the PlayStation was going to be a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
In fact, the Nintendo PlayStation existed in prototype form for a while.
Yeah.
But there was some fallings out with Sony and Nintendo about the disc system because Sony wanted, certain rights and they would, make certain profits from it, etc., etc. Business fallings out. It didn't happen. And Nintendo went away and they were like, we don't even want discs. We don't want to use discs. We're going to use cartridges for our next system. And they released the Nintendo 64. And then we were in talks with Square at the time, who were developing Final Fantasy. And they were like, yeah, we want your game on our console. We'll have to package it with like 18 cartridges to fit it. Because even for the PlayStation, Final Fantasy VII is on multiple discs. It's so big for a game from the 90s. But yeah, there you go. Originally, the PlayStation, it was the Nintendo, Sony PlayStation. It was a collab.
The reason why it's called the Nintendo 64 is because it requires 64 cartridges to play Final Fantasy VII. That's your actual fact. Yeah.
It was originally called the Ultra 64.
Ah.
But they didn't go for that.
No, they didn't. Good for them.
There you go.
There you go. Well, make sure to leave us a 5-star review.
Please.
Please, I'm begging. Make sure to...
please, we'll do anything.
We'll do anything. We'll hobby your hole. That's... That laughter completely cut out. Completely cut out. So for the listeners at home, it was I said, let me hobby your hole, and silence.
I'm so sorry. There wasn't even that much of a laugh. I went to laugh and just started choking instead, so...
Oh, somebody hobbied his hole.
Somebody hold my hobby, I think is what happened.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much. We don't have a set outro yet, but...
Yeah, if you want to... Okay, no.
If you leave a suggestion of hobbies that we should cover in future episodes, and we'll be very happy to oblige. Hope you guys enjoyed this.
And also leave us suggestions for what we should say at the end of an episode.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.